Hi, this is Sean Henry from Sean Henry's Becoming. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple, Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no listenership. It's everything you need to make in a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. I think most people, they stumble into their businesses like that too. It's like, okay, this is consuming my time. I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid for it.
Yeah.
So I might as well just keep doing it.
Yeah, I think it's the best too, because you know, you definitely, it's hard to commit to something that you're not interested in. You know, so when you can find an interest in something first and then learn how to make money off of it second, it works out, I feel like, the best.
You're listening to Sean Henry's Becoming, a podcast that focuses on the emotional journey of an entrepreneur from the thought of their business to the execution and beyond. I am your host, Sean Henry, a serial entrepreneur, speaker, real estate investor, landlord, 21-year retired Army veteran, and author of When the Bank Says No. I'm sitting down with entrepreneurs to talk about their processes and the lessons they've learned along the way. Fasten your seatbelts. The journey is rough, but rewarding. Good afternoon. We are here today with Sean Henry's Becoming with the owner of Hairpourne, Yoki. How are you, Yoki?
I'm good.
Good. So your business is Hairpourne here in Atlanta.
Yep.
Okay. And well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
So I'm from the south side of Atlanta, Clayton County area.
Okay. And you grew up here?
Yeah, for the most part. I'm like military. So we came over here from South Korea. Mm-hmm. And then like I've been here in the Clayton County for the most part forever. And then, you know, moved to the city.
So were you born in South Korea?
I was.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I spent about a year in Korea, so.
Oh yeah?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, military.
Right. Definitely. You have any siblings?
Yeah, a brother and a sister.
Okay, where do you fall in? Are you oldest, middle, young?
I am the youngest. I'm the baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you grow up in an entrepreneurial household?
So like my parents, they had 9-to-5s. My dad is, now that he's retired, he's an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. But no, just regular 9-to-5 jobs. My mom was a teacher, and then my dad worked for the CDC.
Okay. Were there any hobbies or interests that led you into your current business?
So my mom used to do hair a long time ago. So, you know, like parents keep all their little old stuff around, and she'd like have whole hair supplies and stuff like that, and like all type of miscellaneous things. Kind of like, you know, I go down there and play in, and probably like the hair stuff is like what I got most interested in. And you know how girls are, we just want to look cute, and when we get our hair done, sometimes you can't always get your hair done as much as you want to. So like it was fun for me to try to do it myself, and then, you know, friends started asking could I do their hair, and parents, and then so on.
So the parents of your friends were asking to do the kids' hair, or the parents are asking for you to do their hair?
I was doing parents' hair, teachers' hair. Yeah, I was doing everybody's hair in school.
Okay, so were they paying you though?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. My mom won't play about that.
Okay, she's like,
no,
you using my daughter.
Yeah, my mom don't play about that. Like, I don't think we even had to have a conversation like, are you getting paid? Like, cause I like doing hair. I would do my friend's hair for free, you know, stuff like that. Like I would make YouTube videos. And like do my friend's hair. It's so I could practice and stuff. But yeah, once people started like requesting, like, could I do theirs too? Like, yeah, you know, I'll put a little cap on it, something. $50.
Right. You like, okay, I need those coins.
Yeah.
Okay. So when did you realize you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
I guess at some point in college, like I would work small little jobs, but it's like the jobs that I guess, you go to college, you ideally like, you think you're going to come out with I guess not the greatest job ever, but, at least something that you were aspiring for. And, you need experience for everything like that. So it was kind of hard trying to find a job while I was in college. I didn't wait till I got out of college to start trying to work, but I was trying to find one when I was in college, and it was like just super difficult. So like, I was having to work like waitressing jobs and other like miscellaneous stuff like that. But in that I was still doing hair. And so once like hair kind of took over my schedule, like I really wouldn't have time to like be at the club or like, work anywhere else. I just kept on doing hair, and it was making more sense as the time went on. So I just kind of went with it. I don't think I really or really aspired to be an entrepreneur. I think it just kind of happened.
It found you.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Okay. I think most people, they stumble into their businesses like that too. It's like, okay, this is consuming my time. I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid for it.
Yeah.
So I might as well just keep doing it.
Yeah, I think it's the best too, because, you definitely, it's hard to commit to something that you're not interested in, So when you could find an interest in something first and then learn how to make money off of it second, it works out, I feel like, the best.
So that's that whole, if you find something you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
I hate when people say that because I'll be working, but and no matter how much you love something, especially when you start doing it for money, it definitely starts feeling like work. Like I feel like even if I were to get rich enough to retire, I would still want to like make wigs and stuff like that. But just not every day, try to meet quotas and stuff like that. I just kind of do it when I want it to because, it's fun. And then at that point, I would never work a day in my life. But, since, I make wigs to make money, to pay bills and run a business and grow a business and stuff like that, like it is work. It's definitely work.
What was your major in college?
I majored in psychology.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, I didn't use that very much.
Well, you may be using it a little bit in your clients and dealing with clients.
Well, yeah, I guess so, for sure. I don't know. When you're in like undergrad, the things you're kind of being taught is like kind of broad, but. Yeah, definitely like talking to clients, talking them off the ledge, because I'm guilty of that too. Like when I have an issue with something, sometimes I may go in a little headstrong because I'm upset about it, instead of kind of just waiting to see, if it can be fixed, if there's a solution, it usually is something like super simple that can be done to help you with whatever you got going on, but. Yeah, so I'm good at not taking things personal now when I'm dealing with customers, trying to come from their point of view, and yeah, I guess psychology kind of helps with that. Okay.
And then so your company is Hairpourne. So was that always the original name?
No, it started off as Bozzy. I never LLC'd it. But that was my first business name, and it was because I needed a business name. Instead of just say I'm selling hair, like I was already making money and I was just like, okay, let me just put a name on it. And then when I find something better, I'll rename it or then I'll, go ahead and LLC that. And so I don't really remember where Hairpourne came from, but yeah, that's the one I stuck with. That's the one I really liked. Bozzy was weird. That was a weird name.
But it worked at the time.
It really didn't work at the time.
Oh, okay.
But it didn't stop nothing because, people don't really care what the name is. You got good products and stuff like that. And it was temporary too, but Yeah.
Okay. So you started just doing hair. So what were you doing? What was your specialty when you were just doing hair?
Always weaves. So like maybe when I first started, I did more like traditional sew-ins, and then frontals and like full lace wigs and stuff like that been out for a long time, but people weren't making them look really natural back then, and so probably by the time I got into college, that's when everybody was kind of like, social media was like letting you see how the celebrities wear their hair with the lace and stuff like that, and you see like all the really like the vet stylists, like who know how to alter the lace and stuff. They was the only ones doing that back then, so I got into that, which helped me get a little bit more popular because that was like before everybody was doing it, doing like lace and stuff like that. So yeah, like anything with weave for the most part, like that's how I first started. Traditional sew-ins, lace. I made wigs back then, but they weren't too popular at the time. So I make them by request, but yeah, just weaves.
So it's funny because now the trends, younger girls are wearing wigs, and
Yeah.
When we were young, we only knew our grandmas wore wigs,
Right.
And
Right.
so now it's like, oh no, we got a wig too, and we're okay with saying
Right.
we have a wig.
Especially now that people see that white girls wear wigs too. Everybody is a lot more, because we've always worn wigs, but like you said, people put the stereotype on it. Oh, it's for grandmas, and sometimes just us as black women, we get negative stereotypes for wearing weave. Period. Like oh, we're bald headed, stuff like that. So then it's like, oh, you're a black girl and you wearing a wig. Back then it was still kind of taboo. Like, oh, you're really bald headed, you wearing a wig. But now everybody, especially with social media, everybody is so open with them getting their hair done. To the vixens, to the celebrities and stuff like that. And you seeing these girls with all this hair. You seeing white girls, black girls. Everybody wearing wigs and stuff now. Like now it's just a trend like everything else.
It's an accessory.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Okay. And then okay, so you got into wigs, and then do you still do traditional sew-ins now, or is it just wigs?
No. Well, so here at the shop we'll do all of that. I don't do any installs at all at the moment. I don't like saying I stopped doing hair because maybe one day I'll want to do hair again. So, but at the moment, for maybe like the past year or two, I haven't been doing any hair, just making wigs so far. But here at the salon, we definitely do a traditional sew-in.
And Hairpourne is it a salon is it a full service salon?
Yeah, full service salon. So we have girls who specialize in natural hair, shortcuts, specifically. So they don't do weaves at all. Maybe she'll do like a little quick weave or something, but that's what they specialize in. And then we have girls who specialize in putting on wigs, putting in weaves, micro links and stuff like that. So yeah, anything that somebody wanted to get done to their hair, we could pretty much manage.
Okay, and then how would they find out? Because I didn't know you guys did micro links.
Yeah.
So how do they find out? How does anyone that's looking for those type of services find out or know that those services are offered here at Hairpourne?
So each of our stylists try to do our best to like post their work on the page, our Hairpourne page, as frequently as possible. But they still are tagged in our highlights under our stylist, and each of them have style seats or Acuity's booking sites that you can browse their schedules and browse their services. And so they, like I said, everybody does what they specialize in. So sometimes it's kind of just easier to make the call to the shop and just say, this is what I'm looking for.
Okay.
And then, I could give somebody the Instagram, let them see the work, and then I can help them book through the process. But yeah, you're just browsing, you can hit our highlights and you can see all of our stylists, and then you'll see their pages and all the work they do.
Okay. When the bank says no, Airbnb hosting without owning the property. Read how one woman took a bank's rejection for financing and turned it into a lucrative Airbnb business without owning the property. Sean shares her step-by-step process from picking her niche market to furniture purchases, all which led her to achieving superhost status in her first 30 days of hosting with Airbnb. Learn how she made almost $20,000 in less than 7 months while still maintaining her full-time job. New hosts are often unsure of what they need to do, making Airbnb harder than it has to be. Follow her story of determination and perseverance and learn how you can implement her practices in any of your entrepreneurial endeavors. Go to www.shawnhenry.com. That's www.shawnhenry to order your copy of When the Bank Says No, Airbnb hosting without owning the property. So I actually found you on Instagram. I have no idea who I was following that was following you. I wish I did, because then I would sing their praises. Because I love blonde hair. I love blonde hair. Not everybody can do blonde hair. Okay, your hair, weave, it does not matter. People cannot do it. And you see a lot of YouTube videos where people are just slathering bleach and balling up this weave. And this hair is not cheap. You know, this hair is not cheap. I've bought a couple of wigs myself and was able to color it or lightened it to my liking. And I know that it takes a lot of time to do this as well. So once I was able to do it myself and I liked it, I still didn't get it exactly how I wanted it. I found a appreciation for those who do it, you know, not only getting it, the different variations of the color, but also the time that it takes to do it. Yeah. And so therefore I had no problem with spending the money for the unit. So tell me, how did you get into, or when did you realize you knew how to color or do blonde very well? You do multiple colors, but we're going to talk about blonde because
blondes are my favorite.
That's my favorite. Blonde is my favorite, and you do it well. So how did you realize, when did you realize you knew how to do blondes well?
So it's going to sound a little bit crazy. But I'm one of those people who, if I can see it being done, like I can do it. So, like, I'll follow a lot of pages of like color specialists who just specialize in nothing but like coloring hair and things like that. And you know, even though they'll kind of like snip up the videos to where you're only seeing like parts and parts, you know, you can still kind of see the process. And when you are like doing stuff for weave, you already have to do something different than what they're doing for natural hair. Just like lifting and like dyeing weave just works different than natural hair anyway. But being able to see the process kind of through and how people are, you know, the steps people are taking to get to the end. Like I say, even though it's not the whole thing, you can kind of conceptualize what you could do to make it look the same. And I could do that with a lot of things. And that's one thing that's annoying, because it's some things I just can't kind of explain how I could do. Like how I built this case. Like I kind of saw somebody build an individual like shelving unit, and then I kind of put it together in my mind. Like, but it didn't come over like night. It took me a minute because I had to try one thing and, you know, okay, that didn't work out how I thought it would. Then, you know, try it again. So it was a process of like experimenting, like a lot of things, even with like the lace and stuff like that, just kind of a process of experimenting and then coming up with the technique you like. I've talked to like another really popular colorist, and we'll kind of like go back and forth about like what techniques we use to get the end result. And she does things like totally different than I do, but we still get like really good results. But yeah, just kind of trial and error. Then one day got the results I liked, and I was like, hey, this looks good. Probably like maybe a year and a half ago, I just started focusing on blondes because I really loved the way it looks when you see people in real life, how like, you know, the highlights, you can see them, what is it, kind of, like hair picks up different in different lighting. Mm-hmm. So, you know, in the sunlight, you can really see the dimension in someone's hair if you've, you know, done nice highlights and lowlights. And then maybe in a regular like room lighting, it's a little bit more flat, but it's still like nice clean color, just have a lot of appreciation for.
But like you said, that's definitely a talent to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Because you do see the dimensions, you do see hair that's flat. It has no movement. It's just one color, one way, you know, all the way through, and that's pretty boring. It's pretty boring.
Depending on the style you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, depending on the style you're getting.
Mm-hmm. So, and I noticed that a lot of the hair that you have it's full in body and it's full in length, and it does provide the movement. So the different low light and highlights kind of provides movement even if you're sitting still.
Yeah, in a way, especially mm-hmm. like I said, if you're outside, you know, mm-hmm. It's really just fun to see, you know. I think color, especially blondes, mm-hmm. Especially when you can recreate that like on a weave, because that's one thing that kind of you could tell the difference between real hair and weave hair, just like how it's colored and stuff like that, especially with like blonde hair, mm-hmm. you know. And I don't want to say, because it doesn't matter who wear it, you know, if you're wearing like a 613 mm-hmm. blonde wig, you know, it's just going to look a little costumey versus like, you know, something.
And a 613, the color is
like that platinum, straight out the pack blonde. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could look a little bit more wiggish than something, you know. And then too, people can wear like different tone of people can wear the blondes. Like people think you can't wear a blonde because you're dark or you're too pale to wear it, but there's so many different blondes when you get into like dimensions and toning and stuff like that.
Okay, so then when you started taking it seriously, what made you want to take it seriously?
I think it was just like the lack of opportunity at the time. For one, I'd always been good at hair, but it never was anything I was sold on. It was kind of just like an innate talent. Mm-hmm. But, you know, when you're in college, you're trying to figure out what you're going to do with your life. And, you know, obviously you pick a major and stuff like that. I think my major was biology at first and psychology next. And I just never was really interested in school at all. Psychology is probably the most interested I had been in something. So, yeah, I'm obviously figuring out at that point, like, I don't think I want to be, you know, at the least a counselor, because I just don't think I have the patience for it, and that will be the only thing I could do coming out of like, you know, undergrad. So like me, I worked some waitressing jobs and things like that, and applied for some jobs I actually would have liked to do. And you know how they do, you know, you need experience, this, that, another thing. It just, you know, was getting really hard to try to find a job. And you know, you kind of really don't have that time when you're paying bills. I was living in an apartment at the time. I started taking it seriously. Well, I lived in apartments the whole time I was in college, but at the time when I started taking it really seriously was my last apartment. I was by myself. I typically had a roommate. And so, yeah, just getting to the point where I needed more money to pay bills, pay rent, you know, clothes, food, you know, just to support my life with, you know, without having to have my parents help me, because another thing to me was important when I was in college to make the transition from college life to adult life. So, you know, I was really kind of goal-centered on doing it myself. So hair was, like I said, my innate talent, and I've always been able to make money off of it. So I just started taking it a little bit more seriously by taking more clients, you know, posting. Social media is great for helping you build your brand and your business. And then, shoot, when that kind of took off, like, or when it kind of just picked up to the point where I was so busy I couldn't work my regular job, which was Hooters at the time, which I only worked for maybe like 6 months. It felt like forever, but it wasn't that long. But yeah, when hair picked up too much that I couldn't maintain my schedule at work, that's when I just committed to hair completely.
Okay, and then so when you started doing hair completely, first of all, I realized that entrepreneurs, they start their business based off of a need.
Yeah.
So it could be your need.
Right.
In this case, it was, I need to make some more money.
Well, that and clients need, like, because people will always forever hit me up to do their hair. And so, I do it when I could, and, so then it would be a point where like, oh, can you do my hair tonight? And I'm like, well, shoot, I got to work tonight, can you come tomorrow? Then, you get another person ask you, oh, can you do it tomorrow night? Well, shoot, I just told somebody else I couldn't do it tomorrow night. Can you come tomorrow too? Now you booked up for, your whole afternoon tomorrow, and somebody else hit you up for tomorrow night. You're like, well, shit, I'm not going to work then. I'm just going to, take this money because I don't even know if I'm going to make the money at work because, I'm a waitress. Like, I don't know if I'm going to make that money at work. So, they want me to do their hair. I'm just going to fill my time.
Right.
If I have time to go to work, I will. But if people want me to do their hair, I'm just going to do their hair.
I love that. If I have time to go to work.
If I have time to go to work, I'll go to work. But if I don't have no time, I'm going to stay here.
When you started doing hair, what were you doing? Because right now you do wigs. So what was that transition when you started doing? What were you doing at that point?
So I've always worked with extensions.
Okay.
And wigs for the most part, but I started out just doing like sew-ins. So I've never worked with natural hair. I barely even touch my own natural hair, except to like treat it and stuff like that. But yeah, like in school, I was just focusing on sew-ins. That's what attracted me the most, and I guess that's why I went ahead and just went into hair, because I told myself I didn't want to do hair. I don't want to be a hairstylist. But then when I started like getting into weaving and stuff like that, I think I became a little bit more open-minded. Like, okay, well, because I'm thinking like, well, I don't want to be a hairstylist, like, curling hair and perming all day long, and roller setting and stuff like that. That was my whole idea. Like, I don't want to do that. But like I said, the way like the results are when you do a weave, like, from the beginning to the end, the dramatic, extreme makeover, I think that's what really like caught my interest the most about it. And so that's what I just chose to focus on, was just weaving. And really that's pretty much my entire brand is extensions, weaves. And I did work on wigs back then. I was doing more sew-ins, frontals, closures, like more client-based work back then, just services, because it's expensive to have sell products and stuff like that at first. So yeah, that's where we started out, like just doing extensions and stuff like that. That was my go-to, my specialty.
Okay, so then when did you make the transition from the sew-ins to actual units?
We started selling units exclusively because I would always make them custom for clients. So even back then when I was working out of my house, if a customer wanted a wig, I would make it by request. There weren't many wigs to choose from. It would just be like, oh, I got some hair. I want to take it on and off. I want to wear it as a wig. Can you make it into a wig? So I would just do it like that from there. But
so the client would bring hair to you, and you would make it into a wig?
Yeah, or get hair from me at the time. Either way, but yeah, not like kind of like how we do it now, where you can come in store, you can visit the website and kind of see all we have to offer. Like it was just like, I know you know how to make them, so like here, like make me a wig too. And then when we got into this space, maybe like a year after we became a team. That's probably when I started focusing just on wigs. And the reason why is because the market kind of got saturated for selling hair extensions. Don't get me wrong, it's still profitable. You still can make a lot of money. If you brand it right and if you have good products, good prices, and things like that. But yeah, the market just got really saturated with hair extensions, and I like niche things. I like things that make you unique. That was kind of how I got popular in the beginning, because the market wasn't saturated. People weren't doing, everybody wasn't doing frontals and doing, really clean extension services. People were still getting good at that at the time. So that's what made me unique at the time. And then the past coming years, wigs have been getting popular. And at the time when I started just selling them exclusively, or I started selling more of them, I was noticing that there's not a lot of wig sellers out here. And if they are selling wigs, they're just those, plain full lace wigs, the things you have to customize yourself and get to looking cute. So yeah, that's when we started really focusing on like custom wigs, when the market everybody started trying to sell hair and stuff like that, try to give us back, some brand uniqueness. And it did.
So how did you transition from home to brick and mortar storefront?
So I was initially working, I worked in all my apartments I ever lived in, but the last apartment I was working in was Pryor Street, where like most of my clients, a lot of my clients to this day, like still remember me from. And I was in college at the time. I was looking for a space to work out of, because it gets a lot working in your home, especially if you live with somebody. I lived with a boyfriend at the time, one of my young boyfriends at the time. And yeah, it just kind of got overwhelming being in the space, all of our belongings in this 800 square feet place. And him and I and a client, and we're in the kitchen in the middle of the floor. So I started looking for commercial space, and real estate is it's tricky because things are not available when you need them to be available. Sometimes you gotta wait around, or sometimes you have to jump and make a move before you're ready. So I was looking for real estate or commercial space, and everything was just kind of flopping for me. It wasn't really working out. So I ended up finding a live workspace, which was ideal because it was somewhere I could work out of and I could live out of as long as I maintained a business and a business license. I could do what I pleased in that space. So I was able to find a live workspace, and that's where I pretty much started being able to service my clients, or service my clients who wanted to purchase products more personally, because I would always take the clients for services inside of my house, but for products they wanted to pick up, wigs or things like that, I wouldn't be too comfortable with that unless you're receiving a service.
You moved into the live workspace. So did you have a realtor to help you with the finding?
No, I found it online. Just Google searching all the time. I think at the time when I was doing all that too, is when we were kind of having some price drops in the market for property. So I was kind of just, I'd always get on there and kind of see what's going on anyway, and then in the midst of that, I'm looking, for commercial property. So maybe searching twice a week, every week, just seeing what's out there. Maybe I said, not even intentions to move at the time, because I didn't know if I could. But yeah, maybe I inquired about a couple places, and like I said, they flopped. And then I finally found a place that I thought for the most part would be pretty great. I wasn't able to see the inside of it, and I was still in a lease at the time, but it seemed the most practical. It was available. If I went ahead and signed for it at the moment, I could have it when the person was done with their lease. So it wasn't available when I picked it out, and I wasn't able to see it when I picked it out, but and then I told you too, when I did see it, I almost cried because the internet shows you what they want to show you for spaces, and I guess that's the benefit of having a realtor, because, you know, they're able to make moves for you and let you see stuff and get you better pictures and better concepts. And yeah, at the time I was just like doing all the research by myself and things like that. So, you know, I went ahead and signed the lease before I got into the building, before I even seen it, because all the units were taken. Like, there is none vacant. There's never any vacant. As soon as somebody gets close to their lease being ending, like somebody comes snags it, like I did. Like, so yeah, when I got in the place, I almost cried. It was so bare, and I just didn't have the vision for it at the time. It was a lot for me.
And that's the current space that Hairpourne
yes, that
is
is
in
where
right
we
now.
are now, and probably where we will be forever.
Okay.
Or at least something with my name on it will be here forever, because I actually love this space now.
Okay.
Ironically.
Okay. Well, it grew on you. You made it your own. You were able to customize it.
Yeah.
So, like, take us through that process. So you so you found, and for those who do not know, it's Hairpourne, Harpourne. Okay. Yeah. So you can definitely find her on Instagram, Yoki on Instagram under Hairpourne, and then the location. What's the address?
We are 759 11th Street Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia 30318.
Okay. So now, when you walked in, you saw this place was all in shambles.
Yes.
Shambles. What were you initially expecting though when you saw it?
Just a clean space. So the issue with me was the issue with the workspaces are that they are workspaces. Mm-hmm. So although they let you do what you want with the upstairs, they let you live in the spaces if you'd like to. Most of the people who rent these spaces are using them only for business. So when I got in here, it was set up, or it looked like somebody had bulldozed like the entire place. Like it's like, you know, concrete, like dried up concrete on the ground, or like, you know, just mm-hmm. like things that it's just hard to work around, you know, like if you have concrete on the ground, how are you supposed to get that up, you know, stuck to the ground and then it's risen, you know, like things like that, like, you know, maybe there's, you know, built up concrete on the wall, just weird things that, you know, don't make the place clean, mm-hmm. you know, like easy to, you know, decorate and stuff like that. So, and then it was just a lot of concrete too. I wasn't anticipating so much concrete, like, you know, I know I had seen pictures some areas, so you know I knew it'd be a little bit, but yeah, I think I didn't anticipate so much concrete. And matter of fact, you know what, I did see photos, but the photos that, you know, are shown are only of specific units. You know, all units will look different and stuff like that. So yeah, that's exactly what happened. I didn't anticipate so much concrete because in the photos there was not so much concrete.
Okay. So the people who had it prior to you, what was their business?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea. I wasn't even able to check out and see who was here before me because I wasn't able to get the number, or, you know, they weren't able to tell me, or they didn't tell me the space. You know, I would be able to be in when I signed lease, because I guess they're like, you know, we can't show you it anyway, so, you know, we're not going to take you over there. And I guess me too, I'm just like, well, if I can't see inside of it, you know, it's no sense of me looking from the outside, because I think I couldn't see from the outside. I looked at a couple of them, you know. I went to a shoe store on the other side, and it looked really nice, but it's different than mine. And they're all different. So, you know, I'm like, okay, well, this looks pretty good. You know, like, this should be fine.
But then you took the time and
yeah, it took me a minute though. Mm-hmm. It took me a minute though.
Mm-hmm.
I immediately, when I got in here, I was kind of just blown, but you know, the space it's mine anyway at this point. So I just start working in it. It stays concrete for at least a year or so. And then when I decided to expand into a salon, that's when I started, you know, thinking like, okay, I want to make the space personable. You know, I want to, you know, make this space like, you know, look like something, you know, I would have built.
So what made you decide to expand into a salon from a one-woman salon to a team?
So I guess a couple of reasons. Initially, I didn't really care for a salon. That was never like my end goal, or really ever anything I had planned to do. it was an idea of many other people's first for me. And I just, I would hear it kind of just like, okay, maybe, probably not. I think my initial thing was I wanted to teach. So if anything I would have done with the space, I would have like maybe tried to eventually use it for class space or something like that, which is ironic I do now. But yeah, initially I wasn't intending on turning it into a salon, but in addition to like, people over time like, oh, you should, but I don't really listen to the you shoulds. Like, I'm not really that person. Like, 'cause people give you the worst ideas.
Yeah, because you gotta fund that. You should.
Everybody, you should. I'm like, well, you should help. But,
exactly. Yeah. How are you contributing to this?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
and then if it doesn't work, girl,
no, for sure. Right. But they don't think about all the tangibles, mm-hmm. like, because that's what when you're a business person, you got to think about the exit strategy too. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the boyfriend I had at the time, he, he was really interested in the space itself, like, what I was doing and stuff like that. And, he kind of had a master plan for me in his own head, like things that he wanted to see me do. And so, he kind of pushed me to make the transition, because I kind of just had the space doing nothing for a minute. Honestly, truly, I was kind of following him around for a second. He's doing a little traveling. We were in the early honeymoon stage, mm-hmm. So I'm just, following him. I'm following him to the point where we moved to California. Like, the loft is here. It's nothing in here. It's still concrete as hell, and I'm in California. Like, I have a friend here, like helping, talk, deal with clients and stuff like that, back and forth. But like, I'm in whole California, mm-hmm. like,
living your best life.
Yeah. And so he's like, if you're gonna be, because he obviously, he wants me with him. If you're gonna be out here with me, I at least want you to be able to like maintain, everything you've tried to build, in Atlanta, even if, if you stay here, if we don't stay out here, like. So, that was kind of like the push to make the transition from just me to, having a team.
So as we talked about this briefly, but as a independent woman, mm-hmm. okay, a businesswoman, how does that feel to have the support of, babe?
Yeah, it feels great to have somebody that you can, just call for advice, like someone who just, who would know or have been in your shoes before. You could just ask small questions or even big questions, and they know where to find it, or they know somebody who knows, or like I said, they're just interested enough to want to help you, like, or just see that you have a problem, or not even a problem, but see there's a way that something that you're doing that they could help you do it better, or like, they've experienced a way to do things better, and like, it's amazing. It's one of the a few things that really propelled me, like, in business, was having, that support, like, from a partner.
You may have individual stylists, but they're representing Hairpourne as a brand. Yeah. They're representing you.
You may see them at the front door when you're walking in. You're never gonna get someone looking at you crazy, like, like, anybody that you see at that front door is gonna smile at you,
mm-hmm.
Like, because that's just their natural energy. I don't have to teach them how to treat people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you get the Chick-fil-A standard on the way. Yeah, coming through. Did you need any licensing or anything like that to do the sew-ins?
So in the state of Georgia, no, you don't need any licensing to do braiding and weaving. In some states, you do need licensing, so everybody's state's different. But I think more of the urban states where, you have more Black population, they acknowledge the fact that braiding and weaving is so much different than, doing natural hair. So you don't need a license for it.
Okay.
So each class is kind of different for what they include, but I always include that in the descriptions before you register, so you know what you need to bring, to expect.
Okay. And so once a person comes to your class, they should be able to make a nice wig at the end of your class. So they are set to start. Yeah, so we complete an entire wig at the class. Most people complete theirs, some people don't, we try to work at a pace, but I encourage people to take their time, because you do have the machine, you can go home and finish it. But yeah, we work to complete an entire wig that day. And so, yeah, leaving the class, you should be more than able
to complete the wig. And so what I also do, well, now I've always had the online classes, but what I also do now for my classes in person is I give everybody a certain amount of time access. So last class had 3 months access to online, and it's just the same material I teach in the class, but it's just pre-recorded. So if you feel like you missed something in class, or you just need a little extra assistance when you get home, you could just log on to the training site and pick up on whatever lesson, because they're detailed by step. It's a bunch of videos. So you can literally figure out whatever part that you're having trouble on and just click on that video and watch it step by step, slow it down, pause it, however you need to do it so you can get the concept. So yeah, everybody takes my classes have more than enough resources to get the job done if they want to.
One thing that is is reoccurring with you that I really, really love is the fact that you reach out, like you reach back. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, okay, I built this platform, so I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna take care of my folks that's immediately around me to the left and the right. And then if I know that there's a need for your service, then I'm gonna make a spot for you too. So that's something that we really don't see a lot, especially in our community, especially with our women. Yeah, we don't see that with our women. So definitely hats off to you. That's something that I'm doing with this podcast that I like, because I'm spotlighting Black-owned businesses. And some people can say, oh, well, what about everybody else? And I'm like, what about everybody else? I'm Black.
Right. No, for sure.
I'm Black. I'm a woman.
And we can do that. Like, you know, I think we're entitled to that.
But you know what? We always apologize for that, or we make an excuse. And I'm like, they got a whole Chinatown. They got a whole Little Italy.
No, for sure.
They got a whole, the Jewish community. And nobody is going over there and saying, well, what about?
No, for sure.
Yeah. So this is my platform. There's 50 million podcasts. You can go to whichever one you want. I'm a spotlight us. How do you feel about the gross profit narrative? So, the gross versus net narrative. So, I'm on Instagram a lot, and so people are constantly talking, oh, I made $1 million, whatever, doing whatever they did, but they don't talk about, that's the gross that they,
Right, for sure. Yeah, people leave that out, and that kind of like gives people the wrong idea who want to enter business, because they're not getting like the full scheme of everything that goes into it. Because they see the the big number, what they posted from their back end, from their website and stuff like that, but it costs to purchase products, whatever you pay to get that started, advertising, just many factors that go into selling a product. They all miss that. They just to that big number. So all that big number that they're showing you is not what they're pocketing. They've spent a significant amount to make that money.
Spotlighting other entrepreneurs. So is there an entrepreneur you would like to spotlight?
Oh yeah, my videographer at Tommy 4K. He's really, really great. I shout him out in particular because I've had a lot of bad experiences with freelance photographers, videographers, graphic designers, all that stuff like that. And so because of consistency and things like that, don't take your project seriously. It's really hard to grow a brand when you don't have any creative help. So yes, that's why I love him. He takes everything we do very seriously. We're a small brand, so that's hard to find someone who cares about what you're doing, and because that's the only way you're going to get to the next level of people taking you seriously, you taking yourself seriously. But all the effort needed being put into the projects you're doing. So yeah, Tommy for sure. And you can find him on Instagram at Tommy 4K.
Tommy, the number 4, the letter K. All righty. Well, thank you.
You are welcome.
Miss Yoki. Yoki, your plug Yoki. Let's plug yourself.
At your plug Yoko on Instagram. That's my personal Instagram page.
Manifestation says, I ask for what I want. I command what I want. I send it out into the universe, and I, without a doubt in my faith, in my belief, wait for it to come back to me. I don't look for my blessings. I send the energy out to go get it, and it comes back to find me. Michi X. Till next time, this has been an episode of Sean Henry's Becoming.